Hi everyone, welcome to my November wrap-up. This didn't really go to plan. Okay, so I said I was going to read 4 books. I have technically read 4 books, just not the ones that I said I'd read. I did read Wonder. Unfortunately now I cannot get to the book because said tree is in the way of the bookcase. So, I did read Wonder, and I did like it. Wonder is about a boy called August who has a facial deformity, who has decided to go back to school. What I really liked about this book is that it was brutal, but actually, I think it was quite honest. As I was reading it, it seemed very natural. The pace of the writing was really nice. The only thing I didn't like was that the chapters were really, really short, and that annoyed me a little bit, because I like to have a decent chapter. Another thing that was really interesting is that it was written from lots of people's point of view. Now, I wasn't expecting that. I assumed it would be written entirely from August's point of view. So the fact that there were different insights actually made it really nice. All the characters in the book were relatable. You empathise with all of them, apart from one. You empathise with most of them. You just get such a natural feeling of what this boy's life was like. I would definitely recommend reading this book. I would say, however, if you get to the last 50 pages, maybe read it inside with a box of tissues. The next book I read was Winter's Snow by Carrie Fletcher. Basically, he is the male protagonist in On the Other Side, and you never really... The On the Other Side is written in a way that is very individual to each person. So you do actually wonder at the end what has happened to Vincent and what has he had to do to get into this special place. And anyway, this book goes into that, which I am so happy about, because actually I really wanted to know that when I got to the end of the other book. I think this book was lovely. I really, really liked it. It didn't have to be longer than it was, because at first I was like, this looks so small. But actually, it says everything you need to know, and I loved it. The next book I read was a book that I had forgotten that I'd pre-ordered, so it came in the post and I just had to read it straight away, and that was Lyrebird by Cecelia Ahern. Now, can we just take a minute to appreciate how gorgeous this book is? It is beautiful. It is a bit chunky, a bit heavy. This in my bag was not really the one. Super heavy. I did like this book. I love Cecelia Ahern. She is my favourite author. Now, her earlier books, I must admit, I think I prefer, because they had a lot more magic in them. This book was nice, but I didn't really like the plot that much. The idea was interesting. You first get introduced to this camera crew, this filmmaker, who needs their new hook. They need a new project. And basically, someone has died and they go to a funeral and they find out that this person actually has a daughter. Now, this person has been cut off from society, doesn't know who she is, and has a very unique talent that you find out quite early on. Now, the story then goes into her journey and how she comes back into the real world, but not in a way that you would expect. One thing that was interesting with this book is it did hook me in the first 50 pages, but as it went on, I kind of lost interest, which I am so sad about because it's such a lovely book. But that's just me. Okay, so that was book number 3. Book number 4 was my book club book, which was My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologies by Frederick Backman. This book was really good. I have not read any of Frederick Backman's stuff before. I know he wrote A Man Called Ove, which I do want to read now. And basically, I was so surprised with his writing. It's so lovely. It's so easy. It's funny. It's really interesting. Everything is so well thought out. The characters in this are amazing. That is what makes this book, the characters. It tells the story of Elsa, who has a grandmother, and their relationship is just amazing. They're like best friends, and they have a secret language. They have this imaginary kingdom that both of them know about. The story goes on to explain how Elsa's grandma came up with this fairy tale world and fairy tale land. Elsa lives with her pregnant mother in a big house with lots of different flats, and in the flats you learn about all the different people who live there. As you can maybe guess, the relationship between Elsa and her grandma doesn't last particularly long, and the story goes on to explain how Elsa finds these letters left to people from her grandma that she has to deliver. You get the feel of the letter and you find out how much these letters actually mean to the people who receive them. This book is lovely. It's sweet, it's heartwarming, it's funny. This isn't a book that I would usually pick up, but I'm so glad that it was suggested in the book club because I love it. Just about 4 books. Plus Wonder. One video I will actually have all the books and then I can show you. I found reading 4 books in a month actually quite difficult, so I might read less in the next month. Definitely the favourite, I think, was My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologies. Yeah, quite proud of myself, really. I liked this reading month. I think it was really nice. Thank you guys, bye!